Nestlé Southern Africa region is currently running a campaign that aims to make positive strides to preserve the environment in order to reach their goal of zero carbon emissions by 2030. This is through their Africa's first ever net zero dairy farm, Skimmelkrans, in the Western Cape. This initiative has been well captured by one of South Africa's leading artists, Dillion Marsh, and is currently showing at the Melrose Gallery in Johannesburg. And for more on this, let's now chat to St. Francis Tohlang. St. Francis, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Simpy, and good morning to your viewers.
Good to have you on the show this morning. The world celebrated World Emissions Day about 2 weeks ago. Can you tell us a bit more about the commitment towards achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050?
Yes, indeed, Simpy. World Emissions Day was 2 weeks ago, and as Nestlé, it was really an opportunity for us to reflect on the journey that we have been, particularly on our pursuit to reduce emissions in our business. So as Nestlé, we have a number of commitments where we're working towards reducing emissions in our operations, and particularly ultimately reaching net zero by 2050. So by 2030, we want to have halved our emissions, and in the short term, working towards 2025, we want to have reduced our emissions by 25% within our operations.
Mm-hmm. And how is Nestlé bringing this commitment to life in the region?
One of the ways in which we're doing that is looking towards innovation, partnerships and collaborations. And we have flagship projects that we really do believe are leading the way, industry-first projects that are demonstrating that through innovation, as mentioned, collaboration, that we can find ways. And there are two particular examples and projects that we're incredibly proud of as Nestlé South Africa. One, as you mentioned, the Skimmelkrans dairy farm, which will be the first net zero dairy farm in Africa, and we're targeting that for 2023, and we're well on course to reach that. And then the second one is InfraSalience, which is a partnership with the emissions capture company, where we're essentially capturing flue gas emissions from our boiler house at our Babaleki factory. And we're, through green chemistry and artificial intelligence, turning that into baking soda.
Now, St. Francis, take us through what you are doing to help reduce emissions and, playing a role in sustainability locally.
Yes, as mentioned, I think these projects are our flagship projects, and it is part of a broader roadmap where we are looking to firstly achieve our 2050 commitment of being net zero as an organization globally. But of course, we have other opportunities within the value chain to, one, lead, two, really provide tangible proof points that it is indeed possible to find ways of still operating as a business, but at the same time finding ways in which we can be positive to the environment, that we can have a positive impact, and particularly from a net zero perspective, that it is possible to run a dairy farm. It is possible ultimately to run a factory with net emissions into the environment. So those are some of the ways. And I think it's really framed by our sustainability approach as Nestlé, which is really anchored by three pillars: rethink, reduce, and repurpose. So rethinking our business models, rethinking the ways in which we do things. Reduce, I think, speaks to itself very directly. How do we reduce the impact that we have on the environment? And then finally, repurpose, where we're really looking for opportunities to embrace a more circular economy approach within our business and also in our value chain.
Let's extend our conversations to, other initiatives that your organization is currently involved in, to sort of drive sustainability and ensure a circular economy.
Indeed, we see that as a golden opportunity, really applying and demonstrating that circular economy principles really do make business sense. And so one of the ways in which we, again, are looking to lead the charge there from a private sector perspective is to identify partnerships that really allow us to scale some of the pilot projects that we're working on. But at the same time, again, to really demonstrate that this is possible. This is a huge challenge facing the world, and we need to really think innovatively. We need to think outside the box. We also have a project with waste reclaimers who play an incredibly important role in terms of waste management. And we all know that waste is a problem to the environment going into landfill. And so we have partnered with Kudoti, which is a technology startup, waste startup, where they're using technology and leveraging the role of technology quite beautifully, and also Destination Green, which is a buyback center in Tembisa. And so through incentivizing informal waste reclaimers, we are then able, through this pilot project called Reimagine Tomorrow, find ways of really capacitating, enabling, empowering informal waste reclaimers, while also providing new access to markets through the Kudoti technology platform.
Right, right. Now, speak to us about some of the trends that we're seeing across businesses, with regards to reducing emissions and being sustainable.
Yes, of course. I think one of the ways in which businesses are looking to do that is to map their own emissions. So really building a solid base, and through that, and depending on the industry or the business, then building a solid roadmap in terms of how you're going to go about reducing these emissions. Now, as mentioned, this is not an easy task. I think it's incredibly difficult. We need to find technologies that enable us to do that. And so markets are developing. That's certainly an interesting industry. And I think an industry in terms of green and blue economies that will definitely serve the environment well into the future, and also provide opportunities for entrepreneurship. So, looking at roadmaps where your baseline is really clear, whether it be logistics, whether it be your own emissions, whether it is part of your entire value chain, mapping that out, and for businesses to then find the opportunities, particularly, I think, strongly leveraging technology and innovation to get us there.
And you recently worked with Dillion Marsh, as I've mentioned in the intro, for an art exhibition, and the Skimmelkrans boardery was part of this exhibition. Yeah, take us through that project.
Yes, I think working with Dillion Marsh was a way for us to really tell the progress of our sustainability initiatives. And the title of his exhibition was From Linear to Circular. And that really encompasses what we're looking to do as an organization, moving from a linear economy to a circular economy. Dillion has a great portfolio of work where he particularly focuses on humans and the environment and that interplay. And so we felt that Dillion Marsh was the right person, the right photographer through his medium, to really capture the way in which we are progressing on these flagship initiatives, Reimagine Tomorrow, the Skimmelkrans Net Zero Dairy Farm, and also Project Infosalience.
And how do you then ensure that other corporations are following suit? And how can the public form part of this ambition to combat climate change?
Yeah, so I think particularly, as I've mentioned, collaboration and partnership are going to be key. So we are on our journey. We are looking to accelerate that journey, and we hope to be inspiration for other organizations, either through the industry-first projects that we are leading to the front, or in ways in which we can work together. So hopefully that inspires other partners, other private sector players to want to collaborate with us on different projects as well. In terms of the greater public, I think what these projects really look to do is to inspire that we all have a role to play. From a private sector perspective, it's not just focusing on the COP conversations that are very high level, but we want to demonstrate and showcase. And we hope that the public as well also then look for opportunities within their own homes or their scope of responsibility to look to reduce emissions.
St. Francis, it sort of becomes a tough balancing act, especially for industries who are the bedrock of a country's economy, yet those industries emit carbons. So how do we strike a healthy balance with regards to that?
Yes, Mpiwe, I think indeed, the linear economy is still very much dominant. And, as mentioned, the circular economy is that opportunity. So really embodying and applying circular economy principles. So I strongly believe that innovation is the key to this, that we need to find innovative ways of doing things while still not sacrificing the importance of business performance, of protecting the economy today and protecting livelihoods. So that has to happen in tandem, but we have to be ambitious. We have to really accelerate this endeavor because the planet is suffering, and of course for future livelihoods, for future generations, this is a concern.
All right, St. Francis, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was St. Francis Tohlang, and we're just in conversation with him about, them making positive strides to preserve the environment and their goal towards reaching zero carbon emissions by 2030.